Hello everyone, today is Monday, June 6, 2025. This is the latest financial news at Finance Today MX, with our top story today. U.S. reports lowest job creation for a month of May in 6 years. Stories of the day. U.S. reports lowest job creation for a month of May in 6 years. The U.S. labor market showed new signs of cooling in May, a situation the Federal Reserve is likely closely monitoring to evaluate a possible reduction in the country's interest rates later in the year to offset the weaker performance of activity. Employment in Mexico has the second worst month of May in 22 years. Private sector companies in Mexico cut 45,624 jobs in May, the second consecutive month of contraction in the labor market and in line with some signs of a cooling in the national economy. Trump, Xi maintained very positive call on trade, agree to team meeting. Presidents Donald Trump and Xi Jinping of the United States and China, respectively, spoke by telephone this Thursday about the trade relationship between the two nations, in a meeting with which the White House expressed satisfaction. Business. Arca Continental acquires U.S. company Imperial. Arca Continental, the bottler of Coca-Cola products in Latin America, announced it has signed an agreement to acquire Imperial, a company operating in the vending machine and micromarket business based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Gap receives Jamaican approval for fees and investments at Kingston Airport. Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, the private airport manager in Mexico and Jamaica, announced it has completed the regular review process for maximum passenger fees and the investment program at Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, Jamaica, for the next 5 years. Walmart de Mexico and Mercado Libre see momentum during hot sale. Walmart Mexico and Central America, the country's largest retail chain, announced that the total value of merchandise on its e-commerce platform increased by 28% during this year's hot sale campaign. Pemex receives AAA rating confirmation from HR Ratings. The public company Petróleos Mexicanos received confirmation of its credit rating from the Mexican agency HR Ratings, due to the support shown by the federal government through contributions to debt service payments, capital investments, and fiscal aid. Economy. Trump says U.S.-China trade meeting will be on Monday, June 9. U.S. President Donald J. Trump said the next meeting between the governments of the United States and China will take place on Monday, June 9, in London, England. Ebrard begins tour of the U.S. to reach an agreement on steel and aluminum tariffs. Marcelo Ebrard, Mexico's Secretary of Economy, began his working tour in the United States, seeking to reach an agreement with the authorities on the increase in tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25% to 50%.
COFECE reveals the last 4 competition investigations in 2024. The Federal Economic Competition Commission published the 4 investigations it conducted in the last 3 months of 2024 into possible anti-competitive practices in different sectors and markets in Mexico. Mexico will invest 126.6 billion pesos to modernize 62 airports. The Ministry of Infrastructure, Communications, and Transportation, SICT, announced it plans to make a public and private investment of 126.6 billion pesos, $6.629 billion, to rehabilitate and expand 62 airports across the country during the current 6-year term. The U.S. reduces its trade deficit by more than half in April due to a drop in imports. The United States international trade deficit more than halved in April, driven by a contraction in imports, which had risen the previous month due to early demand from companies in anticipation of tariffs imposed by the Donald Trump administration. Markets. China injects liquidity to prevent cash shortages. China's central bank injected approximately $139 billion of medium-term liquidity into the nation's markets on Friday to avoid a cash crunch at the end of the month. U.S. stock markets rebound thanks to non-farm payrolls. U.S. stock indexes advanced on Friday after the May jobs report indicated that hiring remains robust despite recent market turbulence caused by new tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump on steel, aluminum, and other products imported into the United States. The peso reaches its strongest level in 8 months. The exchange rate reached its strongest level since October, due to the weakness of the dollar resulting from U.S. trade protectionism.
Thanks for listening. If you find useful this information, please hit the subscribe button to get the latest news. as well as share, comment and like, so we can expand our community of subscribers. Sincerely, thank you, have a good one.